tried to stop him. He fought the banks. JFK too, when they killed him for the banking institution is more dangerous than an army, he said. He also said that every generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a dream. War is a continuation of politics, only by other means. Politics is a continuation of economics by other means. This is our bank. This is our war. And this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio!
Need a midday break? Join Mona Riddler, Revolution Radio's very own Feral Hippie. Noon, weekdays on Studio B. She will bring to you a wealth of knowledge on nature to the occult with passion-filled rants. Also bringing along special guests that show the truth of what is hidden at the end of the rainbow. Don't miss this ongoing adventures of a feral hippie.
I want to tell you how it's gonna be. You're gonna give your love to me.
Welcome to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. It's Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, and you're listening to Starseed Awakening Radio. And here's your host, Misha Johnston.
Hello, folks, and good afternoon to the show. I have a wonderful guest today. It's going to be such an interesting show. You're going to be blown away. I have Reverend Michael Carter, who is author of several wonderful books, which I'll be talking about when I introduce him. And I'm just going to announce a few things about my organization here in Las Vegas. Starseed Awakening is an organization with several limbs. The first ones here are locally. I have a meetup group where I meet twice a month. We have an experience group for people who have ET contact and have had and all around feel like they're star seeds and waking up and realize that the energies that are coming into the world right now are just, they're very, very strong and heavy, and people are being woken up like crazy. So then I have that group. I also have a group that we're working on our psychic abilities, because everybody's a psychic. We just don't remember that. And we come into this planet in an amnesic state and forget all those important things, like that we are spiritual light beings having a human life. So I also have Facebook groups. The first group is Starseed Awakening Contact the Experiencer group. And this is for people who have had ET contacts or abductions, my lab experiences, whatever. And they can come on and share. It's a private, closed group. Also, I have Starseed Awakening, which is an open group, but it says closed, but I invite everyone in, that pretty much everyone that asks to come in. And that is for people to talk to other starseeds about their consciousness raising, what's going on, these energies that are happening, and all of that. As well as I have a very serious closed group, which is the MK Ultra, My Lab, Monarch, Targeted Individual Super Soldier, and Ritual Abuse group, which is for people who have really gone through tumultuous, horrible experiences throughout their life, and maybe still are going through them, and they have need to talk to other people. They have to find a place to share and not isolate, because isolation is the number one thing that the powers that be want you to do. They want you to isolate, and we help and share with each other and talk. And we do these by Google Hangouts. These groups are, of course, on Facebook, but then twice a week, I have Google Hangouts. And the Google Hangouts are every Thursday at 4 o'clock. That is, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because I'm in Las Vegas, so I speak Pacific Standard Time. And then that's on Thursday. And then Sunday, every Sunday at 11 a.m., I have the Experiencer group for people who are experiencers. And then I also throw some groups in there here and there with special speakers or special guests that kind of you can ask questions to and get more information and such as that. You can also follow along with my starseedawakening.org, the website. I have a website that really kind of covers everything that goes on in my life, as well as any lectures that I have coming up or events that we're going to be having here in Las Vegas, because sometimes we have the Starseed Awakening art exhibit at the libraries here in Las Vegas. So I will keep you apprised on that at the website, and you can also go to the website and watch any of my past shows. Just go to my radio link, and you can listen to any of the past shows through there. So very important to me is one of the projects that I've been on for about a year and a half. We're still working on it. We have the Thrive at My Education, which is a new type of school. It's a school that is going to be for these amazing starseeds that have come in this time now. You know, they might have labels like indigo, crystal. They also, in school systems, have labels like ADD, ADHD, ODD, dyslexia, speech impediments, autism, Asperger's. And these schools are designed to help these students who have really been lost in the whole public school system, and because they learn differently. Their brains are wired differently, so therefore they need to learn differently, and they need to learn in a more open and receptive method, a way for them to be all that they can be and experience all that they can experience. I mean, you can have a 10-year-old savant who can do calculus. Well, there's no reason why he should be stuck in a 10th grade. In third grade, when he could be in with senior grade doing calculus. So that's the type of school it is. And of course, we have our 501c3 that we are working on right now. We're in the last stages of that, and then we're going to get this thing moving. And hopefully by the next school opening, we will have our schools open in both Las Vegas, Nevada, and Phoenix, Arizona. So now I would like to introduce my very, very prestigious guest, I feel, Reverend Michael J. Carter, author of the Alien Scriptures. He also is the author of the Holy Bible and his newest book, which is A New World If You Can Take It. He is received his master's in divinity in a degree in the Union of Theological Seminar in New York City, the class of 2000, and while serving various Unitarian Universalist congregations in New York, Michael was trained as an anti-racism trainer and has been recognized by President Clinton for his efforts. He has spoken for UFO conferences such as the Second Philadelphia Need to Know Conference, the annual Long Island UFO Conference with Budd Hopkins, as well as appearing on radio and TV appearances across the nation. Reverend Carter has appeared on Coast to Coast and many other radio shows, and has appeared on Japanese television discussing the Bible and UFOs. A long time ago, UFO experiencer, as a long-time UFO experiencer, he lectures extensively on the topic of religion and UFOs. He has appeared on Sci-Fi Channel Steven Spielberg's production of Abduction Diaries, The Real 4400, and is a frequent guest on History Channel production of Ancient Aliens. And I'd just like to welcome you so much. I've got so many questions for you about how the UFOs and ETs have been spoken about in the Bible. And then, of course, I want to actually kind of welcome Reverend Carter and ask you to maybe start with telling us you were at the Contact in the Desert. Can you tell us a little bit about how that went and what you spoke about?
Yeah, thanks, Misha. It's always a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me on the show. Yeah, I was very delighted to have been asked to be one of the speakers at Contact in the Desert. I very rarely get to the West Coast, so it was really fun for me to be there. A lot of prestigious speakers. People could go online and look up some of them, but it was like a who's who in the UFO community, all gathered in one place. All these minds and all the research. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. I was on a panel that talked about God. I'm sorry. Well, it was spirituality, extraterrestrials, and the evolution of human consciousness. I was on that panel with Laura Eisenhower, Dr. Sheehan, James Gilliland. I mean, it was just a prestigious group of people. There were more. I forget all the names.
Grant Cameron, was he one of them?
Was he on there? I don't know if he was on.
He was. Oh, that's fine. He was.
He was there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was on the panel with me.
Okay.
I spoke on, alien scriptures. I did a lecture for that, and also we did a workshop about how we can go from fear to love. So it was great. I mean, I'd do it again if they asked me to. It was just interesting to be out in the desert too. I mean, it was like 102 degrees there some days.
Whoa!
Yeah. But it was great. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Oh well, great. Do you have any speaking engagements coming up?
I don't as yet. I'm working on a new book.
Oh wow, another book.
Yeah, but it's not particularly about star people. It's actually going to be a calendar, and it's a day. It's going to be 31 days, and each day it's called, at least the working title right now is called God Consciousness, One Day at a Time, and it's for people who are wanting to excavate, to cultivate, to go deeper into their spiritual life. And so there's a lesson each day for 31 days. So that's what I'm working on now.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, for people, whether they've had contact experiences or not, I think it'll be very helpful.
Well, wonderful. And I just kind of like to get a background so people understand a little bit more in case they haven't heard you before. I'm sure they probably have, but if they haven't heard you before, tell us a little bit about you and how you got started and how do you actually realize that the Bible talks about ETs and UFOs, and yet, it's not in the seminaries, I'm sure. It's not taught in the seminaries, I'm sure.
No, not at all. And hopefully that'll change one day. Well, first of all, I want to say I stand on the shoulders of some other pioneers. Friend and colleague, Dr. Barry Downing, who wrote a book back in 1968 called The Bible and Flying Saucers. Dr. Morris K. Jessup, who died under mysterious circumstances back in the 50s. A woman. We always need more female energy, I think, around this issue. And a woman by the name of Reverend Virginia Brasington, who's from this part of the country, here in the mountains of North Carolina. She's deceased now, but she had written a book speculating about the possibility of the Bible talking about extraterrestrial life. I was raised in the traditional Baptist tradition, of which I am no longer a member. And I was raised, with the party line. Uh-huh. I was not a Trekkie, not into Star Trek then. It just didn't fit my worldview. And most of that was because that's the way I was brought up. Okay. If you come up in a strict kind of Bible-based theology, some questions are outside of the box, and some questions you don't even think about asking.
That's right.
And so in some ways, a lot of the anger I had, which I don't have as much, was not, you couldn't ask questions, but the answers were given you to questions before you even asked them. So I grew up like, I guess, many people. But when I had a contact experience back in my first one that I recall was December 28, 1989. And after that experience, it really got me looking into religion and spirituality. I'm not a nuts and bolts kind of person. I don't really care how they fly, whether it's propulsion system. My mind doesn't work that way. I'm sure that's very interesting. Right. But I'm more interested in the transformation that occurred.
Michael, can you please tell us about, being an experiencer, facilitator of groups? This is my first question. Can you tell us about the contact?
Sure. I had gone to see the pyramids in Chichen Itza and Tulum on the Yucatan. I was with my girlfriend at that time, flew back from Mexico, landed in New York, where I was living at the time in Manhattan. I was supposed to go to a party. I didn't want to go. I was tired, but I went anyway. Probably also wanted to show off my tan and all that. And it was freezing. Uh-huh. So I went to gloat a little bit, and I had some finger food, no beverages, no alcoholic beverages. And I came home. And in the middle of the night, for some reason, I got up. I don't even know if it was to go to the bathroom. Maybe I just sensed a presence. And there was a being in my room. My room was lit up. This being was surrounded in a blue, it had an aura, but it was surrounded in a blue, cobalt blue light. Mm-hmm. It had a jumpsuit that looked like Reynolds wrap, aluminum foil. Uh-huh. It was chalk colored. It wasn't gray, but had the phenotype of what we would call the grays. The pear-shaped head, the deep black wraparound eyes. Mm-hmm. And I looked at him. I'm thinking the brother was a him. It could have been a she. Mm-hmm. But I looked at him, and he looked at me. And he was very short, very thin. And I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
Yes.
So I pulled the covers up over my head, hoping it would go away. And when that happened, I heard this swishing sound, uh-huh. and I felt the temperature change. Uh-huh. And I was like, what the? And I pulled the cover down, and no one was there. It felt like, for a few moments, that I was outside. Uh-huh. It was freezing. Uh-huh. And we're talking about being on the 15th floor of the Excelsior Hotel at 45 West 81st Street on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Uh-huh. So it was a residential hotel. Uh-huh. So anyway, of course, I feared for my sanity, and I went to be regressed by Dr. Gene Mundy, the late Dr. Gene Mundy, later by Budd, the late Budd Hopkins. And I found out that I wasn't crazy through hypnosis, that this was actually happening to me. And it kept on happening. Uh-huh. Every full and new moon for 6 to 8 months. Now, there have been times, years had gone by, where I hadn't had a visit like that. Maybe it would be a dream state or whatever, but mm-hmm. most of my visits have been when they have been actually in my room, where they could touch me or I could touch them. They would paralyze me mm-hmm. and show me pictures. Sometimes I'd hear a voice, but their mouths didn't move. Mm-hmm. And even the little gray brothers and sisters, when they moved, they jerked. They didn't really walk mm-hmm. or step like we do. It was kind of a jerky, floating kind of thing. Anyway, mm-hmm. And so I've had the privilege, I guess, to have seen 3 races. The grays, like I said, these folk weren't gray; they were chalk white. Reptilians I've seen, and Nordics.
So now you've seen 3. That's very interesting. I know that we're going to get into some of the other things later, but I want to go some more into this. So with all 3 of these, do you feel that they were there to maybe give you some messages and of what your mission might be, which is, of course, writing these amazing books and doing more into the whole subject matter of
the Bible? great question. Yeah. First of all, I always say that I've had positive experiences. Mm-hmm. I do not want to take away from brothers and sisters who've had traumatic experiences, sperm taken, ovum taken, anal probes. Yes, that happens. Mm-hmm. It did not happen to me. Mm-hmm. And I just put that out as a caveat because what I try to do is to lessen the fear, because we have a tendency to judge like we do each other. We stereotype and, so we judge a whole lot by a little bit. So that was one of the things. And I will always talk about that. At the time that I started seeing them, I was in a transition period, changing careers, even though I always knew I'd be, having something to do with church. I wasn't doing it at the time. I used to be in the theater in New York. I feel that they accelerated my spiritual growth. I feel that there were some things that were uncomfortable, but I feel that they made me look at my life and look at who I really was or who I said I was. And the mission was to live that, to try to lessen the fear factor. I was told by them that they're not, at least the beings that want to be clear, can't speak for all the species, right? Not trying to speak for all species. The beings that the brothers and sisters who talked to me were saying, Michael, we're not here to take over. We're not here to invade. We're here to help humanity go to the next stage of evolution. But, y'all fight too much. You're too violent. You're too addicted to fear. And that's what's been the hardest thing for us to do when dealing with human beings, is because we need a paradigm change. This belief in separateness, this belief in, I'm Tea Party, you're not. You're gay, I'm straight. You're transgender, you're Democrat, Republican. That's going to have to change if we want to really go to the next stage of evolution. Doesn't mean you give up your individuality or uniqueness. Unity doesn't mean that you give up who you are, but it does mean this us versus them paradigm really, really, it will destroy us if we're not careful.
Wonderfully said. And, we've got just about 8 minutes before that first break, but since I have also had experiences of positive nature, I have had, of course, some government experiences with ETs that were not so positive, but all of my other positive natures were with, I've had kind of a tall gray, willowy one. Like you said, the little grays, they're kind of different. They're different. They're just not the same. Then I've also had a reptilian groups that have been positive. So could you tell me about your reptilian experience and what
my reptilian experiences was just that. Again, I was trying to get to sleep, and again there was the paralyzation, and I was lying on my side, and this brother just walked through the wall. Beautiful now that I look back. Then I was crazy scared.
Sure.
Beautiful, muscular brother, like he went to the gym or something before he came.
Yes.
To me. Beautiful eyes with yellow, with the pupil vertical.
Yes.
Instead of hard, like a cat looks like sometimes. And he just looked at me and just said, "Don't be afraid." And he placed his hand on me. It's a hand. Dogs have hands. I'm calling it a hand. You could say it was a claw, but it was a hand.
Yes.
And he just told me not to be afraid. He just looked at me, and then he just went out the same way he came. He just walked through the wall. And then shortly thereafter, I saw another reptilian brother who he didn't look like this brother. This brother looked like Spider-Man, only with scales. This other brother looked like an alligator walking on 2 feet. Had a tail. Got my attention. I mean, they just walk in like it's Grand Central Station. And, and he just looked at me. He looked at me and blinked. And, because people say, well, did you ask them this? And I don't know, with me, ask them. I'm just still getting over the shock.
Of course.
What am I going to ask them for maybe a Valium to calm my nerves maybe? But It's just, I couldn't believe it. But again, it wasn't this demonic or this kind of, this kind of scary. Yes, he was bizarre looking, but he did nothing to hurt me.
Exactly. Yes, they do a lot of looking and watching you. A lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, like they can look right through you.
Yeah, they can. Absolutely. And then you said did you also see a human group?
I saw the Nordic people. They look like you a little bit. I'll tell you this story. Well, before you've got about 3 minutes, let me do it very quickly. First of all, I had a blood clot, and I'm going to go fast. We can talk about it after the break.
Sure.
I was going through a lot. Had a breakup of a relationship. My dad had died. All this at the same time. It was like a country western song. It was the blues. And so I had to go bury my dad in New York, then come back down and move out from my relationship. And
okay,
we'll do it when we come back.
We'll do it when we come back.
Yes.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Please, anything but sitar music. Yeah, that's better. You're invited to Sacred Cow Barbecue. I'm your host, Patricia Aiken. My guests will free your mind from mainstream manure. No subject is off limits. Don't believe everything you think. It's BS. Just our collective belief system programmed into us. Question everything. Come hungry for truth because that's what we're serving. Sacred Cow Barbecue, Tuesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern in Studio B.
Take a look around, kid. What do you see? Homes being foreclosed. People working 2-3 jobs just to put food on the table and still drowning in debt. Don't get me wrong. This country was founded on great ideals and principles. They've all been ruined by the banks. Open your eyes to banks that are robbing you. You know who my favorite president was? Oh, Thomas Jefferson. Because he saw all of this coming and tried to stop it. He fought the banks. JFK too, and they killed him for it. The banking institution is more dangerous than an army, he said. He also said that every generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a dream. War is a continuation of politics, only by other means. Politics is a continuation of economics by other means. This is our bank. This is our war. And this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio!
Join us on Monday nights for Odyssey at 10 p.m. Eastern Time in Studio B with your host, Michael David. We discuss all types of ancient and modern mysteries, from the Anunnaki to legends and mythology. We often have live guests such as well-known authors and experts on many esoteric topics. Join the intrigue and mystery every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time in Studio B.
Hey everyone, it's Barbara Jean Lindsay, the Cosmic Oracle. If you have questions about your past lives or future plans, need answers from the cosmos about your love life or career, or just want to keep your finger on the pulse of the planet, check out my show, The Cosmic Oracle, here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
The Secret Society Revealed. With your host, Joseph Atwell, author of Caesar's Messiah, The Roman Conspiracy to Invent Jesus, and Shakespeare's Secret Messiah, the groundbreaking discoveries that gives us a new understanding of how governments and elites use mind control to manipulate their subjects. Join Mr. Atwell as he lifts the veils of deceptions of our modern world. Mondays, 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on Revolution Radio.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hi, and I wanted to remind, I know you just probably heard that, but it is, Revolution Radio is completely listener supported. So please go on over to that donate button, push it, and donate while you're listening to our show today. And we're going to get back to Reverend Carter. Go ahead with this very interesting information about you. I've not got to hear your own personal story, so I'm glad to hear this today.
Oh, well, okay, so I want to get back. Okay, so I was going through these personal life challenges, and I got a blood clot in my leg. I didn't know what it was. It was from my ankle and my right leg up to the groin area. And I thought maybe I pulled something, but it was swollen, but I didn't know. So a friend of mine in New York said, Michael, you're not supposed to have that kind of pain for as long as you've had it. If I were you, I'd go to a doctor. And at first I said, no, I'm not going to do that. But then it was so excruciating. I went to a doctor. He looked at my leg. He asked me a few questions. And he told me to leave right away, to catch a taxi or drive myself to the radiology department at the local hospital. And they did the sonogram, and it was a blood clot. And it was so huge, they said that if it breaks, it would have ruined my day.
Yes.
So I'm taking Coumadin. I was taking Coumadin at the time. I was injecting myself in my stomach with something called enoxaparin to try to break the clot. So on July 4th, 2013, at 9:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it was a terrible thunderstorm here. They canceled all the 4th of July stuff. And I had a lot of friends who fought in Vietnam. And I couldn't sleep because of all the thunder and lightning. And I was thinking about them telling me when they were in the jungle and artillery and how they couldn't sleep. And I thought to myself, this is what they must have gone through. And to switch positions, there is a blonde-haired man with one of those hoodies on that they had back in the Renaissance time, a cowl. He's got blonde hair. Again, these people must go to the gym. He was so powerfully built, you could see his muscles through the robe. And, again, I go into my probably mouth open staring thing, and he puts his hand out, and a green light comes out, and it hits me in my torso. And then he just, like his molecules just disperse. Like he's not there anymore. So I write it down. I keep my diary right next to the bed, 9:50 p.m., 4th of July, blah, 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 blah. And I try to get some sleep. The next day, I get out of bed and I look down, my feet are on the floor, and there's no swelling in my leg anymore.
Wow.
And it looks as if the veins, I can't prove it. It looks as at least the veins have been rerouted. I go to the doctor. I told my wife at the time and my daughter, I didn't think about taking a selfie, which I rarely do, but they knew because they saw how I'm a very thin person. My legs were swollen like LeBron James. I wish my legs were built like that. So I go to the doctor, and he got on my nerves because he kept questioning me. And I finally said, how did that happen? What happened? I said, the medicine's working. Of course, I'm not going to tell him what I'm telling you.
No.
And he says, after a while, I said, look, aren't you happy for me? Just be happy. I don't have the clot anymore. No matter what happens, I don't have the clot anymore. Why is that so wrong? And so I guess, he thought about it. And I guess he said, well, I'm not going to get anything else out of him.
Right.
And they took me off the Coumadin 2 months early because I said I don't need it anymore.
No.
And then I would say about 2 weeks afterwards, I was meditating, and right in my third eye, there were 2 Nordic people. They just looked. It was like from the chest up. One looked like a man, one looked like a woman. They had a tight blue fitting long sleeve, like a t-shirt. And I opened my eyes and shook my head like, what? And I closed it, and they were still there. I closed my eyes, they were still there. And then they blinked at me, and then they were gone. And I guess that was just letting them know that they were around me. But I owe them. I mean, they looked out for me.
Oh, wow. I'm just checking back in on you to make sure you're still feeling well. And
oh, man, yeah.
Wow. That's great. You need to talk to Preston Dennett. He's writing a book about all the healings that the ETs have done. I'm sure he'd love your story.
Well, let me tell you, great minds think alike. I have his first book on healings, and I started to write him, but I just didn't follow through on it. But yeah, I'm looking at Preston's book right now. He's doing another book on healing?
Yes, he is.
Wow.
Yeah. Because there's been so many new healings come up, and so many of the ones in his first book were healings from the UFO themselves. And he's now heard and talked to so many other people that have had the physical encounters where the ETs did the healing.
Well, I'll give it.
And balls of energy go into people's body. A lot happened to you.
Well, I'll contact him. We're Facebook friends.
Good.
Do you know? Is there a number or something, or should I just do it that way?
Hey, I can give you his information. I'm sure he'd love to talk to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you.
He was my guest last week.
I know, just a week ago,
a
couple days ago. Yes,
that's right. So, well, that's very interesting. So, you are having these ongoing contacts. So, I definitely would say yours are contacts. So, do you feel like you get much, the telepathic communication? And of course, as you know, the telepathic communication does not necessarily mean words. It can be whole thought forms, whole ideas, whole pictures, things like that.
I would say I do, but like you said earlier about psychic stuff, I mean, everybody, if you're open to it, we all can do that. I just know sometimes, I don't know whether it's them or my higher self or both, but when I'm in tune, if I'm needing something, the right book comes my way, the right person comes my way, the right situation comes my way. But I try to be open to it as well. I do, again, say that these are my experiences, that I know people have had traumatic things happen, and I don't want to take away from that at all. But I'm always going to push the other narrative, because in a world that's so fear-based, that's the only thing people want to hear about is the sensational and, about the negative.
Right.
And there's 3 sides to the story: yours, mine, and the truth.
Exactly. In my support groups, we delve into, somebody comes in and they're in a fear situation, and we let them go ahead and share and work out. But by the time a person has come to a group for a couple, 3 times, they realize a whole different side, the truth of what actually might have happened in their experience, and they get out of the fear. And so my groups are much more for people, realizing that there was a message behind the experience, or perhaps a message for the people to do a mission or things like that. So we see that especially now, people are out of the fear. I shouldn't say they're completely out of it, but the majority of the people realize they didn't hurt him, they didn't harm him, and they survived through it, and they, are here to help. So.
Yeah, and I that's what was great about your groups, Misha. I mean, I can't come to a lot of them. And I love that you invite me. I mean, because I got the church, and I got a daughter, and I'm running, going. I can't make all of them, but you're contributing to raising the vibration, raising the frequency of people, to a higher level. So I tip my hat to you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's my mission, and actually, they put me into it. I was led right into it by my ET guides and my brothers. I love the way you say brothers. That's great. That's cool. I love the way you, instead of calling them a species or beings or anything, I love that term, brother.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, because they have families. Some of them. You know what I mean? I mean,
they are.
Who's the brother who just wrote? God, I have his book here. He was in the Air Force. You know who I'm talking about. He'll pop in my mind. He wrote something on each species, the tall whites, the grays. I forget his name. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, my God, they have families. They have children. They're people.
Yes.
They're people.
Yes, they are. And they're connected to us. They are our family. So that's great. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share about your own personal experience? I find this extremely interesting.
Well, you know what? I'm glad I got a chance to talk about it. Because, when I'm doing the Ancient Alien show, they're guiding the conversation, and that's fine. I mean, like I said to you earlier, they really helped me. They helped get the information out and get my name out there. But they don't even know about these experiences. I was talking to Giorgio last year at the Edgar Casey thing, and Eric was there, and it was wonderful. And he didn't know. He said, "Michael, are you an experiencer?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, I thought you guys knew." But we don't have time on that show, not unless they do a special show devoted to that topic. We don't have time to unpack these experiences. So, it's always good. I don't bring it up outside of here unless someone asks me. I don't preach it from my pulpit, if you will.
Yes.
But people, buy the book, or they say, "Oh, I've seen you," but I don't have a UFO church. That's not my calling. Mm-hmm. But, listen, 20 years ago, I wouldn't even mention this because of people, the stigma.
Sure.
But now it's just so out in the open. I mean, with Ancient Aliens, with the Pope talking about, the Vatican. I mean, it's like we've gone to another stage in evolution.
Yes. And in fact, that's interesting. That was a segue right into my question. Next question was, what do you think about what the Pope has mentioned? And I understand he's about on the edge of speaking more about it. And I'm kind of wondering, my feeling on the Vatican and stuff is not exactly forthcoming. So what do you think?
Well, I hear you. Believe me, I'm hearing you. I feel, and I think, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of rumors going around. First it was the 13th, and then he's going to talk about it on Monday, and who knows? I have a lot of thoughts and feelings. First of all, the Vatican wants to be on the right side of history.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's to their best interest that they're the headlights instead of the taillights on this topic. That's number one. Number two is, like Hinduism, Catholicism will not have to make too many adjustments because, like Hinduism, theologically, they already have room for saints and other beings. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for their theology, these angels are, they may be star people, but they have a cosmology that fits that, whether it's saints or what have you. As Hinduism has a Brahman is the main deity, and then you have lesser deities. Mm-hmm. I think this, though, it'll be wonderful if they disclose, but you and I know, just like many of your listeners, that we can't wait for that. I love what Brother Stephen Bassett is doing with disclosure. I love Stephen Greer, Dr. Greer. I love Brother Michael Sala over in Hawaii. Love him. But there's also a part of me that says, to me, it doesn't matter, right, because we know they're here. Yeah. And I don't have to wait for Obama or whoever's going to be Caesar, maybe Jeb or Hillary. I don't have to wait for them to tell me what I already know. And the other thing is that other nations, Australia, Great Britain, a lot of Brazil, Mexico, China to a degree, France to a degree, Britain, because Nick Pope was at the Contact in the Desert conference. They're already releasing it. Mm-hmm. They're already putting it out there. So I would love if my nation did. I would love if the Pope did. But if they don't, I still keep on keeping on, baby, because truth doesn't wait. Who was it? Victor Hugo says, there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come. And right now, the time has come that we know that we live in a universe teeming with life.
Exactly. And we are the disclosure, especially the experiencers. I feel like we are the disclosure. And
we are it.
Organization Free. Have you heard of Free?
I was on the board.
Great. Yeah. Well, I think it's amazing what they're doing, and you have a virtual movement of experiencers, and I'm go right along with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful. It really, really is.
So tell us about. Well, before we go into that, I want to ask you just another question. What do you think about the CERN? All the information about the CERN where is it? I can't think of where it's at now, but the collider, the CERN collider?
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know what? We'll just skip on by that because I'm trying to get some information and I don't know too much about it. But everyone thinks it's going to be a cataclysm and that it's going to be part of the Jade Helm and all of this other things. Have you heard of the Jade Helm?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, just bypass that one. Check it out on the internet. Check both those out because the rumors and the information that are going around are quite. Well, a little bit on the disturbing side, but interesting to say the least. So, but I would like to start talking to you and digging into some questions about your new book, A New World, if you can take it. And, well, where can they get that book?
Great, thank you. Amazon, you can get it in Kindle and Nook, and you can get the soft cover as well. They're very reasonably priced. And, Amazon and Barnes & Nobles.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're my publisher is Grave Distractions.
Grave Distractions. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
But you can go right on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles and purchase the books.
All right, that's wonderful. So tell us about the book. I mean, I know you had the last time I had you on my show, we talked about your scriptures.
Oh, alien scriptures.
Scriptures, yes.
Yeah. Well, this book I think was a natural outgrowth out of alien scriptures. What I wanted to do, Misha, is I wanted folks to realize that you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't care whether it's the Quran or the Old Testament or the First Testament or Second Testament, we call the New Testament, that you can still glean wisdom from these teachings, even and bearing in mind that they come from off-world intelligences. but also that there's a history that's not in these writings about people not looking to clergy, but looking to themselves, gnosis, if you will, self-knowledge. And so I wanted to put that in a book, that there are many, some people are anti-clerical, and I understand that. But, you don't want to paint everybody with a broad brush. So I wanted to go from the biblical religions in the first book to teachings that were suppressed in the biblical religions that stress going within, and also that stress that we may not be alone in the universe. There's a whole, I didn't even do damage, or damage is not the word. I just gleaned the surface of it so people could research it. Now, I got the title from a document that Colonel Corso, who wrote The Day After Roswell, he had this document. You can view it on the internet, and he tells the story, which he did not put in The Day After Roswell, which I found kind of interesting, about walking along in New Mexico desert at the White Sands missile or some military installation, and he heard a voice, and it was a star being. And the voice said to him, just give me, 10, 15 minutes, I'll get out of here. Just don't panic, but just give me some time. And so Corso, when he got his wits back, asked, who are you? And who are you? And what do I get? What do I get out of this? And the being said, a new world, if you can take it.
Wow.
And Corso arranged that whoever this brother or sister was, I guess they got back in their craft, or they got out of here. And that's the story as he tells it. And so I always loved that title, A New World, if you can take it.
Yes. So this being was there during the Roswell crash? Was this after?
No, it wasn't. This was after Roswell.
Oh, so it was during the investigations and such.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't say when, but it was after Roswell.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the title just stuck with me, and because I think that's what we're starting to see, socially, culturally, in some ways politically, a whole new world, and the old world is dying. Now, I know more conservative brothers and sisters who, Christianity, Islam, they're going to say it's the end of the world. Right. Well, every ending is a new beginning.
Right.
And the end of the world may be the end of the world as we know it. Because we know what? Energy is not destroyed. It just transmutes.
Exactly.
And I think that in some ways it's hypocritical, because if you really believe it's the end of the world, why get up in the morning? Why bother? I mean, if it's really already sealed, what's the point? Yeah. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So my point is that we can create the world we want. These are probabilities. This is what Heisenberg's uncertainty principle talks about, that we create the world we want. And if we want love, if we want peace, you don't focus on war. You focus on peace. If you want more love, you don't focus on the lack of love. You focus on love. So if we want more peace in the world, in a new world, we don't want to focus on the end of the world. We want to focus on the world we want to create. And so I'm getting better, but I have little patience with people who talk about these apocalyptic scenarios. It's not to say that they can't happen, but they don't have to happen if we change our paradigm.
Exactly. That's the key thing. It's the same thing with this, the things that are coming up with the CERN and the Jade Hellman stuff. If it's in your paradigm, yes, but it doesn't have to be. Exactly.
No, it doesn't have to be. That's why you have these studies where they get people to meditate, and they get maybe 50 people to meditate in areas in cities where there's a lot of violence, and they all focused on one thing, peace, and the crime goes down. Okay, but if we got what, 9 billion people on the planet, if you got 5 billion who are Christian or conservative Muslims or whatever, and they're focusing on apocalyptic stuff, we can cause that to happen because thoughts are things. Mm-hmm. But I say we use those thoughts to create the world we want, not what we don't want. If you want money, you don't focus on being broke.
Right.
You focus on where I can get some money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very well said. And people don't, people will focus way too much on what they don't.
What they don't want.
And yet it's going to bring it in. It's just what you focus on, you're going to get.
Yeah, you create it.
You create it. We're creative beings. We are definitely creator beings. It's shown to me just about every day that, and that's, part of the group and stuff. The people have realized that they're co-creators of their own ET contacts and their own ET experiences.
Yeah. We create.
So they'll be back.
Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
The body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. Your heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting to danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning.
We are far stronger than we were 10 weeks ago.
Zero pointers, all hands man your battle stations.
You're nervous about your toes. I'll do the mastermind around here.
You who have not seen it do not know what hell looks like from the top.
Bam, check it out every Tuesday and Saturday on Revolution Radio. It's a double dose of the internationally recognized renegade military historian Douglas Dietrich.
You'll stay right where you are until I tell you to move out.
Yeah, that's right. Tuesdays from 10 to midnight Eastern Time. Join Douglas Dietrich as he exposes the truth in hidden history on his show Critical Omissions. And then our human weapon of mass destruction is back once again to take your calls on Saturday Night Firing Lines. Both from 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Only on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Take a look around, kid. What do you see? Homes being foreclosed. People working 2-3 jobs just to put food on the table and still drowning in debt. Don't get me wrong. This country was founded on great ideals and principles. They've all been ruined by the banks. Open your eyes to banks that are robbing you. You know who my favorite president was? Who? Thomas Jefferson. Because he saw all of this coming and tried to stop it. He fought the banks. JFK too, and they killed him for it. The banking institution is more dangerous than an army, he said. He also said that every generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a dream. War is a continuation of politics, only by other means. Politics is a continuation of economics by other means. This is our bank. This is our war. And this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio!
Enter into a world unseen on Raven Star's Witching Hour. You will encounter eclectic topics from the realm of spirit brought into our matrix of truth. With your host, the Solaris Blue Raven. Solaris will bring you an array of unique guests covering topics from ghostly spirits to amazing anomalies, covert technology, UFOs, and shadowy global events.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Saturdays, midnight till 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Let the magic rise.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Please go on, Michael. We were interrupted with the last break.
I forgot what we were talking about. We covered so many things.
We were talking about the how you got the name, the New World. If you can take it, you were going to tell us more about the book. Yes.
Yeah, I was pretty much finished with that. I just wanted, like I said, to go to I believe the next level of, because if you read it, if you look in the table of contents, there's a section on atheism. There's something about Catholic and Protestant thinkers who have speculated about extraterrestrial life. We go into Gnosticism and that whole perspective of looking within, that knowledge is more important. Self-knowledge, know thyself, that is really what perhaps Jesus was talking about. We talk about Billy Meyer and the Talmud of Emmanuel. I mean, I try to keep it a little bit on each topic so people can be hungry enough to go, you know what? I want to do more research on that. Yeah. Because that's what I want to encourage people. Don't, with anything, you may already know this, but don't believe it just because someone said it.
All right.
You go, you find out for yourself, because that's how you learn. That's how you learn, not by just because someone spread a rumor or something. It's because basically what we're here to do, Misha, I think, is to walk our talk, whether you've had contacts or not. Mm-hmm. And so how does the word become flesh? How do these ideas, these lofty, off off-world ideas. It's a good thing to say we want more love. Okay, but what would that look like? What would more look like to the homeless, to the other 90% of the people who don't own the wealth? What would love look like to people who are struggling for marriage equality? Because otherwise, it just becomes platitudes. We want more justice. Okay, what would that look like? And so that's why I want people to get, because otherwise it's just an idea, but it needs, how does it manifest in the world?
So, do you go into the ancient civilizations, Lemuria, Atlantis, because they were in a position then where we are basically now, and with the AI, artificial intelligence, everything being so technological, and they kind of got out of humanitarianism themselves, from what the stories and the information is that has come through. I kind of think that the Earth is going to that, and it's really, we have another chance to get it right this time.
Well, yeah, I don't think the Earth is going to. I think the people are. Earth doesn't need us to survive.
No.
And I think we forget that. But I know, well, whether it's the Bible, there's stories of human beings who did not have the wisdom and the spirituality to go with the technology. This is the same story over and over and over again, whether you're talking about the Book of Enoch, whether you're talking about what's going on now, whether we're talking about Atlantis. Some people had great spirituality. They knew how to use the crystals and whatever. There were other people coming from a lower vibration, but we had technology, but we didn't know how to use it.
Right.
The same thing's going on now.
Right.
We get drones, we get technology, whether it's from crash disk or whatever, and we're not helping, we're not feeding people, we're not using free energy.
No.
If anything, now we're trying to own water. Now we're trying to ration out water. And so it's like a little kid playing with a gun. Nothing good can come of this. And so if I'm the neighbor down the street and there's one of my neighbors is playing with a deadly weapon that can blow up or that can destroy the whole neighborhood, I need to put on my big boy pants and go and see what's going on. Well, our destructive ways, you want to talk about terrorism, splitting the atom over human populations, which we did at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I don't have to say any more. Right. So not only are we a threat to ourselves, but now we're a threat to other worlds, to other peoples. This is why I think there's been such, after we did that, after we used atomic weapons, the sightings became more and more frequent.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So, I don't think technology is to blame so much as we don't have the spirituality or the maturity. Maybe that's a better word. We don't have the maturity to handle the technology that we have.
Well, yes, that's true. So many of us are shown when we're on board a ship, pictures, in my case, it was like a holographic image kind of on a screen type of thing of the planet and how and where it's going to if we don't change. So that's the message.
That's the message, yes. That is the message. And there's that wonderful line in the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still. And Klaatu says, I forget the actress, but you've come to save us. And he said, no, I'm a friend of the Earth. If you die, the Earth lives.
Right.
The Earth doesn't need us.
Right.
So I think that's pretty humbling. And it puts things in perspective. But if we die, the Earth still lives. So I think it's good to keep that in mind.
Right. But if we destroy the Earth, nobody lives.
Yeah. That's, I think you're onto something.
Yeah. So, I like to get into in the Bible. It talks about all of these things, and it talks about the cataclysms. What area in the Bible is it? Is it in Revelations?
Yeah, Revelations has most of the cataclysms. John writes this. If we say John did write it, 90 years after the crucifixion of Yeshua, and he's exiled by Rome, which is pretty fortunate. I mean, he made himself an enemy of the state. And so he's on the island of Patmos, and he has this vision, and there's wormwood, and he's talking in highly symbolic and figurative language. But I think, like in any psychic vision or channeling, again, these are probabilities.
Right.
Now, but if, again, as you and I said moments ago, if we don't envision something different, then we will have what John saw or other people had envisioned. I mean, we're seeing some of it now. It's all interpretation. Remember, the Bible was used to justify slavery, keeping women barefoot and pregnant, oppressing and marginalizing GBLTQ brothers and sisters. So the Bible, you can make the Bible mean anything you want. But it also can tell us, again, probabilities. And that's all because I say that if it's already a done deal, then either I should just jump out of the window now, or what's the use of going on? I mean, people have hope. They live with hope that things can get better. And so I'm more about putting a message of hope and love out. And I'm not a dumb man. I'm not saying that everything is sugar and spice and everything nice, but it comes down to, are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? And if you're peddling fear,
exactly,
you are part of the problem.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I used to go to a lot more conferences than I do now. Now, they might have changed a lot, but in a lot of the conferences, there was a whole lot of that peddling of fear. And when you left, you didn't feel uplifted. And to me, if you're going to spend the kind of money that you do on these conferences, you better feel uplifted and have some hope. So, and I understand that the conference you were just at was just that kind. There was a lot of encouragement and about what we as a civilization can do with a lot of the speakers. I can't say that. I can say that there were some people peddling fear and there were some who weren't. And I want to be clear, and I'm not going to name names, and it's very subjective because someone could also disagree, and that's fine. But, I'll put it to you this way, Nisha. I'm 58 years old next month. So I'm in good shape. It's nice. Maybe 60 is a new 40. I don't know. But I do know this, that I'm closer to the end of this incarnation than the beginning in this body. And so my thing is I'm attracted to wisdom. I'm not attracted to information like I was. And in this culture, information is confused with wisdom. It's the information age. The internet is the information highway. And so we can get information. I'll give an example. You may or may not agree, but it's okay. That's okay.
Let's say there's a base on the other side of the moon. Okay? That there is a base of star people, cities, all that on the other side of the moon. For me, that's information. It's good information, but it's still information. What I'm more concerned about is how do I learn to love so that if I ever encounter these brothers and sisters, or even people down here, I can walk my talk. How is me knowing that there's a base on the other side of the moon going to help me as I go through my interactions every day. I mean, it's information. It's nice to know.
Right.
But at where I am now, because I was an information junkie, I had to read every book everybody wrote. I had to read every article everybody had put on it. But there's really nothing new to me. To me, the thing is, how do I live the way I say I want to live? That to me is key. Now, I'm not asking everybody to agree with me, because you'll never get enough information. Right. You'll always be buying books. Oh, there's a new book out by Michael Carter. Let me go get it. Yeah, buy it if it's going to help you, because I'm trying to. But there's another book. Oh, there's another book. There's another book. Oh, did you see this conference? And you wind up chasing your tail when basically the basic spiritual answers are already inside you. Anyway, so yeah, I'll buy the book to get some information. Maybe I can use it in my next book or in a talk. But information is not wisdom. Information is information, and you will never get enough of it.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. That's what we're here on this planet for, is learning everything we can. One of the reasons, I should say. So I think you're exactly right about that. It's what we do with it and how we use it in our day-to-day life with our fellow brothers and sisters on the planet. Yeah. I mean, because otherwise it's just, someone was talking about, an individual was talking about the Earth may shift and it's the pole shift and that, okay, I got it. That it's finite and it could be a terrible thing. But tomorrow I got to go to work. I have relationships that I want to cultivate. I have a daughter. I have good friends. I have not so good friends. And so how do I learn to interact with them and myself in an authentic way? Because if I'm so worried about if the earth tips, I'm dead anyway. So all I really have is now. Exactly. That's what we all have to remember, is the living in the now. That's
all you have.
My guides have told me that time and time again, about now. This is what counts now, what you're living in now.
This is why Buddhism is so wonderful. I mean, there are other paths, but it focuses right now. I can't do anything about the earth tipping. I can't do anything about brothers living on the other side of the moon. But I can try to love somebody right here in my neighborhood. I can try to feed somebody, serve somebody. I can learn to be a better father right here, right now. I know a lot of people are worried about the fifth dimension, and I love it. But now we're in the third dimension, and how do we make the changes that we need right here, right now?
So you have an idea of how we can, as a let's say as a United States civilization, what would that look like?
Well, now I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. All I know is what I can do. I learned something very recently. I knew it in my head, but I learned it in my heart. I can only change me.
Right.
I can only be the change I want to see in the world. I can't change other people. I've tried it. It does not work.
No.
I can change me, but by raising my vibration, I raise others. But I need to be able to walk my walk. Many people in spiritual communities, in our UFO community, I'm not saying you don't march or you don't struggle for justice. I'm not saying that. But I am saying is that you can get frustrated when people aren't growing as fast as you think they should do. Or basically we'll be saying, well, if you only thought like me, the world would be a better place. If you only knew what I knew. And to me, that's just the flip side of arrogance. We may do it in a nicer, gentler way, but basically what we're saying is, if you were more like me, and that's not what it's about either.
No.
So at least not to me. So all I'm trying to do is, as Michael, is the best dad I can be, the best minister I can be, the best human being I can be. And hopefully someone will see that. They'll see my actions, not what I talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Even little kids do that. And even Jesus said, by their fruits you shall know them. Not by how eloquent I am, or I'm not, but how I live. But I can't change anybody. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. He didn't say go out and make everybody think like you.
Right. Oh, I absolutely, I agree with you 100%. You know, I have a question to do with something I'm not even sure that you're familiar with, but I'm going to ask it. The galactic language, is there any place in the Bible or anywhere in there that I guess you could call galactic language? Some people have called it in the old days as speaking in tongues and stuff like that. But more and more people in my groups and other groups are getting a galactic language channeled through to them. It's a non-English language. In fact, there's usually more than one different dialect and such. Are you familiar with that? And do you have any opinion?
Well, I don't have any opinion, except that, when I was coming up in evangelical Pentecostal churches, at times people would get slain in the spirit. That's the term they used. And they would speak in tongues. In the Bible, at Pentecost, the Holy Spirit, call that what you will, moves into the room where the disciples are, and everybody starts speaking the same language, even though they were from different places in Judea and in Palestine at the time. Of course, there's the story of the Tower of Babel, where I think they were star people, but God mixes up their language so they can't understand one another because they were getting too knowledgeable. So, I mean, listen, it's all subjective. I can tell you that, you know what, I channeled an ET yesterday and they told me A, B, C, D. And you can say, I believe it. You can say, I'm not sure, but you really can't say it never happened because you can't prove or disprove it. The only thing one can say is, okay, you're speaking a different language. What is that language about? Is it about unity or is it about divisiveness? Because by their fruits you shall know them. So you can discern in your heart whether it's true or not.
Well, that's true. And for my case, it comes with a translation. And the translation is all about love and about unity and about support and that type of thing. So, like you said, by your fruits you will know. So I believe that in many of these anyway, I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
And I should say, because I do a protection around myself, of course, whenever I'm doing this channeling, but I'm getting galactic languages that are sending me messages of love and how, that we're working together as a civilization, and for instance, the hybrids or the bridge between our planet and theirs. So, I mean, what do you think about the whole thing with the hybrid program? Because I know people talk about having, their eggs taken, women taking their eggs taken, and men and this, being probed and things like that. But some of the end results have been hybridization program. And in my opinion, and what I've seen in the hybridization program, only from my experience, is quite amazingly beautiful. And in some cases, it's them coming back from the future to straighten out some things that are getting, messed up in the future. Maybe the genes, things like that. Some of the ETs have talked about this. The Greys, I should say, the Zeta Reticuli, I believe. So what do you think about the hybrid program?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really follow it.
Okay.
I hear a lot of stuff about it, but I don't. I'm just not there. I mean.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm trying to be. Yeah, if it goes on, it goes on. I don't particularly have an opinion of it either way.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, did you see it in the Bible in your studies? Did you see that it talks about anything like that?
Not in my interpretation.
Okay.
Of that. Now, if we want to talk about, Nisha, if you want to talk about the Nephilim, the giants who came down and I guess they made love the old-fashioned way with Earth women, and so they produced giants. Mm-hmm. That's a sort of hybrid program, and I put that in quotations. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like an experiment that didn't go well.
Right.
But that's the only story that I look at offhand. And I just don't know. It's so much secret. It's so much rumor. I mean, you know, I don't know if anybody can really prove that there is I'm not saying there isn't, but to me, you can get so caught up to where there is and isn't. And like I said, to me, it would be just more information. But I'm just trying to get through the day.
Okay. Well, that's good. I just was wanting to know what your opinion of it was. So thank you very much.
I don't have one.
Okay. That's fine too. That's absolutely fine too. It's more in my realm of what's going on in my life and the people in my groups and such. Because these are things that come up in group and everything. And I actually wanted to see it sometime if you wanted to, come in and as a special guest sometime on one of my special.
I would love to. I would love to.
That'd be good.
And you know what I'll do? I'll before I come on, I'll research it more. Maybe we can talk about it there.
Okay. Yeah, you'll hear some interesting things. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, now listen, I'm going to be fair. I used to be really into it. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But I was like, it was, you know how it is. It's so much information and disinformation.
Right.
It made my head spin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I kind of backed off it.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
I went into it, but it was like, my God, I don't know. I believe it's going on. I can see why it could be a little sinister because it's shrouded in so much secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if our military is in it, you know it's going to be a little sinister.
Well, that's the problem with this, Michael, that there is two hybrid programs. There is the hybrid program that goes on with ETs, which has nothing at all to do with government and different types of ETs. And then there's the hybrid program that goes on with the government's involvement in it. And
okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, I like the first one better than the latter, but I think that's an upgrade.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think this whole thing with more benevolent star people is to upgrade us so our consciousness can expand.
Yes.
And maybe I don't want to face the sinister, not to be afraid of it, but I mean, you hear you hear people being killed.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, I do.
And the latter you were talking about because it's so sinister.
Oh, well, actually, what I was talking about in the hybrid program was the very positive.
I'm with that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm glad that I made that.
Yeah. What I think about that is it's needed. You know, you've been upgraded probably. I've been up. If our consciousness is different now than it was before our contacts, then we've been upgraded.
Right.
We've been upgraded. I was also told by one of the brothers that I met that I had signed up for this before this incarnation.
Right.
Okay, yeah. That I said I was going to do this. That I was going to be one of the people telling people about extraterrestrial life. That there was nothing to. I mean, that I chose this as part of my lessons and goals for this lifetime.
I 100% agree with you. I also was told by an ET council, actually, when I was trying to back out and, get off this planet. And I was, I guess you might call it somewhat of an NDE. And they said, you cannot, because you asked for, beloved, actually, it's what the exact words they said, beloved, do you not remember? You asked for this mission.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. And you're like, oh, my, what did I get myself into? but yeah, and I'm sorry, again, I want to apologize. Yeah, I thought you were going to focus more on the other, because that's terrible what the government is doing.
Oh, no, I try not to focus.
That is terrible. But what you're talking about, yeah, but we signed up. Well, I put it like this. I believe I signed up. Because some people get real uptight if you say, well, I didn't pick this. What are you talking about? But and you said it too. We believe that we signed up for this.
Exactly. Yes. And more people are realizing that and understanding that they're in the group. You know, even though my word has support group on it, the groups are basically people being able to share with their own experiences, and people find out, and women talk about their hybrid. In fact, I have some hybrid groups that I actually have.
Yes.
We share these wonderful experiences where we get to meet our wonderful children, and you know, I think it's quite amazing, and I believe that they are the bridge. Like they have showed me in my channeling that they are the bridge between our civilization and theirs, the hybrids.
Right, and you make a safe place for people. It is supportive because I would say I feel it is supportive what you do, and that's wonderful because you make it safe where people can come out and talk about this without someone saying, what the hell are you talking? That's the sickest thing I've ever, you know, people need to be able to feel safe and to share, and that's what your group does, and that's supportive. You kind of gently hold them and say, we're here for you. Tell your story. And I think that's powerful. People telling stories is powerful.
Oh, it is powerful. It is powerful. But let's get back onto you. So where do you see the ascension? What do you think about the people talking about the ascension? Where do you go with that?
You know, it's a great question. I think that sometimes we can get the rapture mixed up with the ascension.
Uh-huh.
I think the ascension, though, I'm not quite sure if it's physical or if it's just a shift in consciousness.
Right.
That there's a level of transformation and transcendence that each individual will go through. I mean, as much as that level can take them there. To a different paradigm, to raise the frequency of the planet. Because everybody's not going to get there. First, I don't think there's a there. But remember, if we believe in reincarnation, everybody's in a different stage of evolution. So, and everybody has different life lessons. So you may meet the younger soul who's thinking, man, the more sex I get, the more money I get, the more material. That's where I call them baby souls. Uh-huh. That may be their lesson this lifetime.
Uh-huh.
You may get a mature or older soul who may have said, I've been there, done that, been killed a couple times for religious disbeliefs or bigotry or whatever, and they may be at a different level, but it may all be perfect because how do you learn acceptance and patience and love if you're not dealing with someone who's coming from a different stage of evolution than you?
Exactly.
But I feel that those people who are at a different stage of their journey, that ascension will take place probably in a more visible way. Because soul age, I think, has a lot to do with it. I believe that we're going through it right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really do. I believe we're going through it right now. But I don't think the ascension is the same physical event as when people talk about the rapture.
I don't either.
I don't think that's the same thing. I'm not even sure if there'll be a rapture, but that's another topic for another show. But I think one is a shift in consciousness, and the other, for those people who are more biblical literalists, is an actual event. But remember, this rapture was supposed to come a long time. I mean, when I read a book called The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey back in the 70s. And he had it down to almost a day of when it would happen. It didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And then we have other people now talking about, well, we're here soon. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, that'll change too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, like you were talking, and even if it comes, let it come. What can we do right now today?
Exactly. Right. Yeah, there's another one, Left Behind.
Yeah, I read all the books. Great entertainment. Very entertaining. But it was. Like I said, I'm not trying to. If everything is fixed, why get up in the morning?
Exactly. And it's not. And you know, I mean, if it's in our paradigm, yes, then that's the way it's going to go. But of course, I'm sure I feel anyway, I'm not sure if you feel the same way, that, you know, we have parallel existence that are going on simultaneously.
Yes, yes.
So in some of those lives, there might be a rapture. You know, there might have that. So for those people who feel like that's the way they're going to go, I would imagine that's the line that they're going to go to.
Yeah, you know, listen, we don't know.
Physical or not, I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But remember, the rapture is from a fear-based us versus them theology where you don't get it and I do.
Exactly.
Okay, so I don't know if the universe would support that. I don't know a universe that's about love and unity and about co-creation and manifestation. Now, the universe will react to our fears. We talked about that an hour ago. But I don't know if, I'm hoping another dimension may be a little more evolved, if you will. So we'll never know. I just know that I used to subscribe to that. And like Paul said, when I was a child, I thought as a child. I acted as a child. But now I'm a man. And I have to put away childish things. And us versus them, I'm saved and you're not. That's not the mature stage of evolution, I think, that our star people want us to be at, where God is a cosmic Santa Claus. Most of the time, a man who's going to punish us if we are naughty and reward us if we are nice. I don't believe that's the way the universe works.
Right. I agree. You know, along with the rapture, some people kind of, I don't know if that's why they've developed this idea that possibly there's going to be all these ships that are going to come up and just take some people up with them. Well, that to me sounds like the rapture, only kind of a new
yes, you're right.
kind of rapture, you know.
You're right. They just kind of adapted it. It's still fear. You don't think like me, so you stay and get punished. I just can't buy that.
And
I could buy the government doing a hologram.
Yes.
Making it look like Jesus, whoever we thought he looked like, comes back. Or I can see the government using technology like that to sway people to whatever way they want us to believe. And so I believe they would do that. And if you and I or other people said, come on, man, you got to be kidding me, we would be looked at as the demons. We would be looked at as the heathen. We would be looked at as the unenlightened ones. Yeah, right. I could see that happening.
Going on that realm, false flag.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Anything to say about, well, you just actually said it, you know, about how they could do a holographic thing and it'd be a false flag. And
you know,
the purpose being, what do you think they, and I don't want this to be, I want this not to be that we're trying to say fear. We're trying to show people that don't always believe it. Look within your heart. Your heart has the answers. You will know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, yeah, listen, I don't really trust my government, okay? There, I said it. I'm not saying they have to be overthrown or anything like that. No. I do know that governments lie.
Right.
That's what governments do. That's how they stay in power. They're not in power to be moral. We wish they would, but governments lie. And if people start opening their eyes, it's a threat to the government because we don't want people to open their eyes. We want people to be sheeple. So it's very hard for me to really believe what my government tells me about things of importance. So that's about as far as I can go, but you can take it and run with it from there. I wouldn't argue with you.
No, I agree with you. We think a lot along the same lines. So, if there was something you could tell people, and I think you've really basically already told it, how people should, live in the now and be the best that they can be. But what would be, a statement in that respect, or a thought that you have for people?
I would say, that don't let the distractions take away your sense of who you are. That you come from love, and that when this is all said and done, you're going to go back there. And the lesson is to learn. We came here to serve. We came here to be fully human, if you will, in all of its many myriad manifestations. And, just to not believe the hype, and don't let people pull you down. It's a beautiful world. It really is. And that it's not beautiful for everyone. And that makes me more grateful because I'm one of the fortunate. But I can learn how I can help. I'm not here to save the world, but I can learn to help. I can learn to serve and learn to love. I believe when it's all said and done, ET bases, star people, whatever you want to call it, that when it gets down to it, that's what it's about. You cut away the fat and you spit out the bones.
Yes. That's the important thing. So let me see if we have questions here. So how do you feel that are you going to be going into more detail in your new book? I understand you're writing a new book?
Yeah, okay, yes. But I'm not doing it's not going to be a UFO book. It's going to be a book for people. I mentioned UFOs in it or contact, but, to the degree of how do we grow spiritually? That's basically what this is about. And it's a calendar. And there's a lesson every day for 31 days about how to grow, how to move from fear to love, how to become the people we say we want to be. That's my new book. Now, there'll be a book after that, but this is mostly a calendar. It's called God Consciousness One Day at a Time. That's the working title. Now, my publisher may say, I want to change it, but that's what I'm working on now. Because I don't want to get pigeonholed in some ways that all I do is write about that. I have other interests. There are other facets to my personality and what have you. So this will be a little different. I hope people will buy it because they know I'm a contactee. They know I'm a very progressive clergy person. I'm not their mama's clergy person or their father's. And so hopefully the reputation from Ancient Aliens and the conferences and what have you may help people say, well, let me check this out. Let me see where this brother's coming from about cultivating spiritual growth and inner transformation.
Well, that's wonderful. I think that's a very important book. Consciousness is the most important thing now, is our own walk that we do. So
yes.
There's a question wanted to know about Steven Spielberg. Did you were on his show Abduction Diaries?
Oh, yeah. We filmed that in New York. Yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be what it was. It was the precursor to Taken. And basically, it was a documentary, and they interviewed experiencers from various parts of the country, and they put us together to tell our stories. I still have a copy of it. That's basically what it was, or what it is. But he used that as a springboard for his movie Taken, the TV movie Taken.
The Taken. Oh, okay. So, were most of the? I unfortunately did not see it. Now, you have a positive experiences with your contacts. Did they delve into more the positive or a mixture on his show?
It's a good question. I think it was overall positive. I did not want to be in something overtly negative, but there were some people who had some scary. It was a mixture of both.
A mixture,
I'll put it like that. But remember, it's Hollywood, and that's what's going to sell.
Right. Yeah, because recently I was contacted by a production company that wants to do a different light on it, and I'm still considering whether it's something I want to be involved in, because they say it's going to be a whole new light on the positive of the experiences, and so I would love to see that come out on TV.
I would love to. Yes, me too.
And in fact, I'll tell them about your story, because I think it would be a really wonderful, valid story, if you would let me.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, listen. I'm telling you now in front of millions, thousands of people listening. Before we go, when we go, I still want to get Preston's contact information from you. Yeah, I want to do it, and I'll tell people more and more about what you're doing that I run into, because we just got to get another narrative. It's not that mine is better, but you know how human beings are. We stereotype people. So it's all grays are bad. All reptilians are this. All women are that. All black people are this. And we can't do that anymore, because it just does not help. It doesn't progress the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a very, very important point that, people do. And when people start saying, like, they'll make the thing about, oh, grays are this and this and that. I said, you're talking about the particular grays that you had an encounter with. Okay. Because of course, if you said all grays are bad, then you have to say those negative humans that live here, then that means all humans are bad.
Yes, exactly. And we do that. We do that because of the mental laziness of trying to, rather than try to take things individualistically for people, it's just easier to lump everybody in a box. But that's the kind of low vibrational thinking that's got us where we are in the first place.
Exactly.
And Einstein said, you can't solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it in the first place.
Oh, yes.
You can't.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
You can't put, old wine into new wineskins.
Right. And, as for Preston, I'm going to have you stay on with me.
Okay.
And then I will give you that information.
And I'll write it down.
Yeah. But, so I'd like to have them, are going to be on some radio shows that they can come and listen, because every interview is going to be different. And, I ask him questions that probably a lot of other people might not ask, and other people ask different questions. So go and listen to his other interviews, because they're all very interesting, because Reverend Carter has a lot to say.
Well, I thank you. Tonight I'm going to be on Fringe Radio from 9 to 11 my time, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. your time. I think that's Central.
Uh-huh.
I've never been on before, so I'm on there tonight.
On that show. It's a good show.
Yeah, I've never been on, so I'm looking forward to that. Hold on, I'm just trying to find it more. Yeah, it's on. It's in Utah. It's KTKK AM 630. Is the I guess that's the station.
Mm-hmm.
Fringe Radio. Yeah. So we'll see what they ask me.
Well, yeah. It's all fun. It's a learning experience for everybody. Yes. And your books, again, would you tell everybody about your books?
Yes, Misha. My first book is called Alien Scriptures, Extraterrestrials in the Holy Bible. You can get that on Amazon. It's Nook, Kindle, or paperback. The second book is called A New World If You Can Take It. It came out last October. God, Extraterrestrials, and the Evolution of Human Consciousness. You can get that on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, Nook and Kindle as well. Very reasonably priced. And my website is michaeljscarter.com. Write me. I will answer you. You can also, my email is michaeljscarter@gmail.com, or you can just Google Reverend Michael J.S. Carter. Write in. I'll get back to you. I love it. We can agree to disagree as long as we don't get nasty with one another. But I'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And is there something else that we've missed that we want to cover on here that I didn't ask you? Did we cover it all? Let's see.
I think we covered it all. I think we got it. I think we covered it all.
Well, that's good. And you're going to be doing lectures at conferences and such. And I know a few.
I'll let you know when. I don't have anything lined up. My publicist on the West Coast is trying to get me lined up for the New Conscious Expo in Los Angeles, but that's not until February 2016.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Right now I'm just focusing on the church, and we'll see what comes along.
Well, good. Well, I know that I unfortunately did not make it to Contact in the Desert. I had a death in the family, so I wasn't able to go, but I was really looking forward to seeing you there. But hopefully at the next conference, if you ever get out this way, come and say hello to us.
I will, Misha. I will call you and let you know.
Yeah, because I'm looking forward to having you share more about your own experiences and such. When everybody shares in their experiences in the groups, it always helps other people because they go, "Oh, gee, that was just like mine. I didn't know that I had that there was anybody else that had that kind of an experience."
Yeah, that's the power in those stories. Yes. Our ancestors were doing that, sitting around the fire. That's how people heal.
It is
as well.
It is how it. So, in your congregation, do you you don't talk about any of this?
That's a great question. I don't. I really don't. But people there, they may come up to me after church. They bought my books. People have been very supportive. But again, I don't talk about this from the pulpit. But, sometimes I'll sneak in a quote from like one of Whitley's books, Whitley Strieber, but the way I feel is that even if I talk about Jesus, or if I bring in, because we're very liberal. I mean, I can preach something tomorrow from something that happened in the newspaper. It doesn't have to be from the Bible. Right. But, listen, those stories about love and about loving your neighbor, if Jesus was a hybrid, which I think he was, that's extraterrestrial wisdom, isn't it?
Yes. Amen.
Yeah. So that's the way I look at it. I may not be talking about UFOs, but to love your neighbor as yourself. And, this is from a man who, if he wasn't a hybrid, he hung out with a lot of people who were.
Right. Yeah. I always felt he was a hybrid as well.
Yeah, well, listen, if your mother's human and your father isn't, and that's what he's saying.
Yes.
He's not saying this is my father because he's using it as some generic term. This is my father. So my mother's human and my father isn't. That means I'm not fully human.
That's right.
And it makes sense about the miracles and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it does, right? And he, and we also are not 100% human because of our genetics, and now that we're finding the DNA and the junk DNA and everything like that. So we're a hybrid probably as well. So therefore, he always said, greater things you will do than I have done.
That's right. But if you don't believe it, then it just won't happen.
Right.
I mean, on a deep level. And it's hard because we've been taught that we're not good enough. Turn your TV on. You watch those commercials. They're telling you, you don't use this toothpaste, then you're not good enough.
Right.
You don't have this car, you're not good enough. You don't eat this pop. I mean, you're constantly, well, we're so used to it, but basically it's saying you're not good enough as you are until you have this.
Right.
And so you have to counter that with another thought, another perspective, another Weltanschauung, another paradigm shift in order to, like Yoda says, you have to unlearn what you've learned.
Yeah.
And sometimes unlearning something is more difficult than learning something new.
Oh, yes, because we've really been fed a real big line of...
Oh, my Lord. Yeah. So it's done unto us as we believe. I don't mean that you give yourself cancer. I don't want to go that far, even though there's some things to suggest that the way we think does affect our health. But if we don't believe it, how's it going to happen?
Right. Well, thank you so much, Reverend Carter, for coming. And next week, I will be having Serena and Douglas. They're going to be speaking about their experiences, their contact with
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
Enjoy your extra big-ass fries.
You didn't give me no fries. I got an empty box.
Would you like another extra big-ass fries?
I said I didn't get any.
Thank you. Your account has been charged. Your balance is 0. Please come back when you can afford to make a purchase.
No.
I'm sorry you're having
Come
trouble.
on. My kids are starving.
Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener-supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer. Long-term storable, 54 different varieties. So if food prices go crazy, the shit hits the fan, or if you just want to save tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our seed pack special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning how to do everything website all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
Take a look around, kid. What do you see? Homes being foreclosed. People working 2-3 jobs just to put food on the table and still drowning in debt. Don't get me wrong. This country is founded on great ideals and principles. They've all been ruined by the banks. Open your eyes to banks that are robbing you. You know who my favorite president was? Oh, Thomas Jefferson. Because he saw all of this coming and tried to stop it. He fought the banks. JFK too, and they killed him for it. The banking institution is more dangerous.
Yes, he's
than
calling
an
into the
army,
show.
said. He also said that every generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a